best game last week as a defensive unit.
Right.
How do you feel like the guys have responded in practice this week?
This week, this practice has been, I feel like we've tried to take it up to even more intense level, just knowing that we still have fight in us, knowing that even though we left a lot out there Saturday, we still have a lot of fight in us for this last game.
Looking at Central Oklahoma, this is another really good offense. What has popped out to you as you've studied the Bronchos on film?
Definitely their consistency. They just run their plays, their base plays really well, which is okay because we have our base plays also. So just being able to match base plays and go play for play with them.
And then they are maybe one of the most balanced offenses. They've got a really good running back, but they've also got a really good passing game
Yes,
too.
sir.
What kind of challenges does that present, having to respect both the run game and the pass game?
I think for every team we've had to respect both. That's just respecting your opponent. But with UCO, I think their passing game is they could lull you to sleep and then hit you on some big explosive plays.
Vince.
Hey man, when you think about what you mentioned, right? There's still a lot out there. There's still a lot of fight for you guys. How do you keep that morale up, right? Last two home games obviously weren't what you guys wanted, obviously.
Right.
But how do you keep that morale up? How do you kind of keep that positive mojo going when you got one more game and maybe hopefully the playoffs, depending on how things shake out?
I think we just surrender to the outcome is what we say. Like, we just know that our preparation and our work is going to get us to where we want to. Even if it doesn't, we know that we left a lot out. And then also just knowing that every week can be different. Every week is in and out of this league. So just preparing and taking each game like one for one.
And something else, looking at just the schedule of Central Oklahoma, they've had a lot of blowouts or they've had a lot of, really close games. Do you maybe look at that or gauge that, or is that, you just got to play your brand of football and just kind of not look at what they've done previously,
Right.
whether it's been a blowout or one
Yeah,
possession game?
like you said, just looking at games from 1-1, we focus on each team, one team a week, but knowing that we have a chance with every team in this league and everybody can compete with everybody, but just having confidence going into this game, even though they're sitting at the top, but just having confidence and knowing that we can compete with them also.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Landon.
Peyton, how do you like having the team sitting at the top as the last game of the season?
I like it a lot because it just shows to like where we've taken our potential. So just from where we started this season to the last game of the season, just seeing how big of a growth we have, but also within this whole program and just everybody coming together for one last game, hoping that we can pull it off all three aspects of the game.
And then personally, being a younger guy in a veteran DB room, what's that been like for you?
It's been nothing but learning and just being a sponge, soaking it all in, just because we have about 3 seniors for the corner position with Rod, JJ, and Hollywood, but just allowing them to take me under their wings and just being able to soak all the information that they've learned throughout their college careers, because each has had their own destination before they got here. So they've been teaching me things about football, but also life lessons also.
How do you feel like you guys have responded this week in practice after not getting the result you wanted last week?
Yeah, I think it's just I'm proud of the guys for just being consistent, and not letting wins or losses kind of dictate how hard they go, or preparation or intent or anything like that. So I think we've done a good job. Like last week losing a close game, something that we think we played good and we did well, and we had a good week of preparation last week, and to watch them continue to do that to this week, I think speaks a lot, on this team.
I accidentally called you coach before we started there, but you kind of have to be a coach on the field as quarterback. And last week, when you have 2 plays, not saying that it's your fault, receiver's fault, to a certain extent, those 2 interceptions, they got lucky bounces
Right.
to a certain extent.
Right.
But it seemed like, and not saying that you don't care, but you saw the play, didn't feel like you got 2 down last week. When you have negative plays like that, and you are the quarterback coach on the field, how do you try to keep the guys up and just say, let's get to the next play? Because I think you actually led touchdown drives on the next offensive drives after each of those interceptions.
Yeah, we just say short-term memory, and that's a lot easier said than done. And I think that's something that I've had to learn over many years of playing football and playing and being involved in athletics. But I always speak around this, how mature this team is, and they're always good about, when bad things happen, which in sports, there's a lot of stuff sometimes that's out of your control and something that you can't control everything, even though you try to. But just how they keep going, turn the next page, next plays, is something we always say. And like I said, it's a lot easier said than done. But seeing them go through that, and never point fingers, never get on anybody else is very important for a team's chemistry. And I think that's why we bond so well together.
You're new around here, but I'm sure you've probably become aware that there's quite a few Oklahoma guys on this team.
Yes.
I know last year something they liked to say was that Emporia State might be the third most popular football team in Oklahoma. When you go home as an Oklahoma guy, you're playing an in-state Oklahoma school. How does that kind of stoke the rivalry with all these Oklahoma guys that are Hornets?
It's cool, I was surprised, to see as many people here that were from Oklahoma, but it was awesome for me too, because that we found a lot of common ground and a bunch of different conversations. But it's a cool opportunity, it's my first time playing in Oklahoma, all year, first time playing in a long time there, so it's exciting for me. I have a lot of family around the area, so I'll have some people get the opportunity to watch me play, and that means a lot to me, and a lot of people who I care about. So it's a good, UCO has always been a big part of Oklahoma, and there's been a lot of my friends go there and a lot of people I know, and so it's a cool opportunity for me to get to play back in the home state again, and just better just for the opportunity for my close family members and friends who haven't got a chance to come watch me play, get a chance to, and so I think that'll be pretty cool.
Vince.
Hey man, you obviously had big wins on the road this year, and another ranked road team that you guys are going to face. And how do you just respond as a group? I know you said preparation was great this past week, and it seems like preparation's been going good this week as well. How do you respond after 2 tough home losses and finish out the regular season the way you guys want to?
I think it's just knowing that we have an opportunity to still play, one guaranteed football game, and that's enough for us. Like these guys and these seniors and stuff want to finish this thing out to the very end, and they haven't taken their foot off the gas no matter what. And so then we get a good opportunity to play a really good football team who's obviously proven what they're worth and everything like that. So we get a good chance to go get a huge, away team victory, and that's a good opportunity for us, and that's something that we take as a challenge, and I think that's going to motivate us throughout this week, and I know it has already. But to go out there and play a hard-fought football game and to prep the right way is something that we're supposed to do, no matter how many wins or losses we have, and I think that just speaks volumes to this team about just staying consistent and never having to waver any way based off a win or a loss or something that doesn't go your way.
And something Peyton mentioned as well, that there's a lot that we've left out there, but we still have that fight. And again, this could be the last game, it might not be, who knows?
Right.
Do you like your teammates are saying, like, hey, we still have a lot of fight left? Yes, we have left stuff out there, but hey, we still have a lot of fight in this group.
Yeah, and I've been in locker rooms for a long time, and I know it's obvious that like once you lose a certain amount of games, or like there doesn't seem anything to like play for, it's just like human nature. It's easy to kind of get comfortable and be realize like you question yourself, like, well, like, what am I doing up here? Why am I? But like the coaches have been so good about telling about what this program is built on, the blue collar mentality. You get up and go to work every day no matter what happens, and I think that's not just true in football, but in life in general. There's a lot of stuff that you can't control, and sometimes stuff doesn't go your way based on how much you prepped or how much you practiced or all the hours you put in, and sometimes that's just life. But the way the coaching staff harps on us to take every game, don't take it for granted. You only get to play football for a small amount of time in life, and once it's over, it's over. So to not take advantage of every game and put your heart and soul to it, and then I think by doing that, no matter what happens, you can go to bed at night and be satisfied with knowing that you did everything you could, win or loss.
That's all I got, man. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Landon.
Edmond. Does that make you nervous at all, knowing that you're going to be the fixture of football in Oklahoma on Saturday?
I mean, not too much. I've played some big games in Oklahoma, but it is exciting for me. Just, like I was talking about, the opportunity to play in front of a lot of family members and friends who haven't had a chance to watch me play in person at least. And it just so happens that OU and OC are off, so it kind of worked out. So I think it's a good way to finish off the regular season, and just a good opportunity for this team in general, just to go out and play a good football team, play a really good football team. And I think just having that competitive spirit in me and all of us, that it's very excited for us, and I think that's motivated us throughout this whole week to really prep and put in the extra hours.
Do you have any idea the amount of people you're going to have there?
I don't. I haven't really kept track with it too much. I've got some texts about the game this weekend and stuff, but I think it'll be a good amount of family and friends, and a lot of my family is only probably about an hour or less away from Edmond, and a central point for where I grew up, and so I also know a lot of people around there too, and so I think I'm just very excited, just for them to get to see a game. I mean, I feel like there's a small difference, just between watching it on TV and actually getting to be there and experience it. So that's something that I didn't really see. I didn't really notice that, they both had off weeks this week, and I kind of found that out last week. And so I was pretty excited just for the opportunity, and just the opportunity for this team as well.
Guys have handled this week of practice coming back after the Central Missouri game?
I think they've done a great job. I think they've handled it well. I mean, we've had a good week of practice, so yeah. I mean, that was definitely, of course, put a lot into that game. Tough loss, but I think again we'll see on Saturday. But I think we'll be ready to play.
Vince.
Coach, how do you, as a team, respond to, obviously two tough home losses, go on the road? Obviously, you've played ranked teams on the road. You've won those games this year, and obviously in years past. How do you, have the team respond in a game where you play against a, pretty good Central Oklahoma team?
Yeah, I think just from my experience, I know but I think number one, you just got to be honest with them and be transparent. I told them that I thought they played hard last week, competed. It's such a fine line in this conference between winning and losing when you're playing, really good teams, and teams are pretty well evenly matched, So a turnover here, a play here, an executed play, whether that be on offense or defense, it just kind of boils down to it. And that's what it did last week. And but I told them I was proud of them. And I said, hey, the toughest thing you're going to have to do is get up off the mat and have the same type of preparation and just like you did this past week, can you get up and do it again? Can you get up off the mat and go do it again this Saturday?
When a team, especially this Central Oklahoma team, they've either had blowouts or they've had one possession games. How do you gauge that as a coach when there's no fine line, it's just either one or the other? How do you gauge that?
Well, I think just being in this league as long as I have is kind of, you're going to see that throughout the course of the season. It's really crazy, where you think a team is struggling, then all of a sudden there's a Saturday, they show up on a Saturday and beat somebody or take them to the fourth quarter where it's a one possession game. So you just never know. It just goes to show that, number one, how tough this conference is, but number two, just with that being said, just going back and being ready each and every Saturday. Again, I say it all the time. It's why I got all this gray hair. It's just it's a grind. It really is. And you look at teams across the league. I mean, I will use Washburn, for example, where they have been in almost every game where it could have went the other way. I mean, Missouri Western, we could have lost that game, and then they've lost some close games moving forward. So again, I go back to my original, what I said on that earlier question, just a play here or there can make the difference in a game. But it doesn't surprise me that UCO has had those games where they've dominated an opponent and then they've had to figure out a way to win a game. And again, that's just part of the beauty of playing in this conference every Saturday.
One last thing I have, just quickly. Peyton mentioned, about like, hey, we have left a lot out there, but we still have a lot of fight. When you hear a player, say something like that, how am I trying to say this? Is it good hearing players say that when, hey, we have left a lot out there, but we still have a lot of fight? Do you like when your players say that?
I do. I think that goes, again, they're going to have to go out and prove it. But just the mindset of, like I talked about, hey, guys, men, can you get up off the mat? Can we go do it again? Can we go play with the type of competitiveness, the effort that we played with this past Saturday? I know you're disappointed. I know things didn't go your way, and it happens, all right? And it's life lessons too. So I do. I think that, and especially coming from Peyton, who I think has grown so much as he's still young, but he's grown so much as a player here, and he is playing at a very high level and also playing with a lot of confidence. So I do think you want your guys to say that. I know sometimes when you have interviews, sometimes guys will say what they think everybody wants to hear, but coming from Peyton and knowing the type of individual that he is, I believe that, and I think that's a good sign.
That's all I got, Coach. Thank you.
You bet.
Coach, how do you feel about ending the season against a team that's at the top, waiting all this time to reach the team that's up there?
I think it's I like it. Especially just in the situation we're in right now where we've lost 2 in a row. We need to go get a win and go get a big win against a team that is either already secured a share for the conference title or at least win it outright. So you go and beat them. You look at the body of work where we have, if we were to win Saturday, we would say we either beat 2 conference champions in our own league, both on the road, and then you look at also beating Angelo State. They're the Lone Star Conference champions. So, going and saying that, it puts things in a little bit better perspective, is how I look at it. So I think it's at a right spot right now, in a right time for us to go play this football game.
Fair point. Being back in your home state, does that do anything for you? It's crazy to think this is the first time playing in Oklahoma this season.
You know what? That's right. There'll be a lot of people there. With just former players that I've coached that are from Oklahoma. I know there'll be a lot of those guys there, guys that I might have coached at Northwestern Oklahoma State, guys I've worked with through the years that are from Oklahoma. Of course, my parents, both OU and OSU, they're not playing Saturday. So I think if everybody wants to see a good Division II football game, I think, Chad Richardson Stadium is the place to be. I really do. And I think there's going to be a great crowd. And I know I love going back to Oklahoma, playing in my home state. I know we got a lot of players from that state, too, that are going to be ready to play. And I know they'll be ready to play. So, and they're really good. They're a very good football team. So I think this is a great opportunity for us again.
And I don't need a coach answer from you on this one, but did the other D2 Oklahoma coaches get upset that you're taking some of their players when you're
you'd have to ask them, man. I don't know. The biggest, I think, in recruiting in general, just in our league too. Like I always say, it's tough playing in our league, but man, once the season's over, you get out recruiting, it's another dogfight. So, but we've always been able to get Oklahoma players on this roster. Of course, my dad being a coach down there in the state he's still coaching. All right, so I don't know why. I've tried to get him to come up here. Help us out. That way he wouldn't have to ask me so many questions. when I talk to him on the phone. All right, I say, well, if you was here helping, you just you know the answers. But no, but it's always been a good state for though the high school coaches in the state in Oklahoma are good. A lot of those guys I know, having grown up in the state and coached there too as well. Both at Northwestern and both at Northeastern. So I don't know if they get upset or not. I imagine there's probably a few guys I've gotten out of there that maybe have upset them. I'm glad that none of them knew about a quarterback at Muldrow, Oklahoma, about 6 or 7 years ago.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, you bet.
One other thing, you're talking about coaches. Talk about having 3 guys that played for you on the Central Oklahoma staff.
Yeah, hey, and that's the thing too. Like, it is a little bit of a rivalry because we have Oklahoma kids on our roster. Me being from Oklahoma, all that. But yeah, first of all, I got great respect for Coach Doral. He's done a great job. And then I'm proud to say that I have 3 former players on their staff that's helping them win games. That I know I'm getting older. I got all this gray hair. My coaching tree is expanding. I have Patrick Briningstool, who coaches the quarterbacks. He played quarterback for me here. Cody Swanson, who's their defensive coordinator, played here as well. And then Kanan Brooks also is there as a graduate assistant coaching the running backs. So, I'm proud of those young men, and that means something to me, win or lose. I want to win this football game and all that, but I'm proud of those guys and what they're doing in this profession because they're a part of this family.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, fellas, I'll see you guys.